Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. Andrew Erickson, the Undertaker, and I are going to walk you through our favorite bets for Week 14 in the NFL. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We love having you here with us every single week. And last week, pretty good. Combined 7 wins between the two of us. Andrew carrying the bulk of it. He was 4-1. I was 3-2. Pretty good week for all of us here. Andrew Erickson, the Betting Pros Network. And of course, we want everybody to subscribe to the channel, but also we want you to download the Betting Pros app, use the tools, and prop bet cheat sheets out there, same game parlay tool. All the tools are out there on Betting Pros right now. So no matter what device you have, download it and start using the tools today. Sync your sports books for free. Andrew, we got a lot going on this week, but we've also got a very important game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. It's the first one I'm going to talk about, and it's been a long time since the Colts have won in Jacksonville. So long that I want to say you were a senior in high school, perhaps a freshman in college, somewhere around there.
Sophomore year at Roger Williams University, RW. Go Hawks.
I was going to say go. I don't know, I know what the go was for Roger Williams University, but you're the pride of that university. I hope that they treat you well as your most famous alumni. I'm just guessing.
They're always asking for money because they know they know.
Oh, that's it. Nice. All right, let's talk about this because we mentioned it on the Look Ahead show on Monday. And right now you're getting the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 2.5 minus 115. That's the best number you're seeing on the consensus at Betting Pros. And look, I've mentioned this on Monday's show. I'll just reiterate again briefly today. Jacksonville's kind of in control. They did what they had to do last week, and the Colts lost. And now the Colts are going to play the Texans again later on in the year. And you have the Jaguars are going to play the Titans twice, right? So they're in a good spot right now where the Jacksonville Jaguars can beat the Colts this week and roll this division. And I think they're going to do just that. I think there's just something, we see a lot of teams sometimes, Andrew, that, get off to great starts. And then as the season starts to drag on, they start to pull back to the pack a little bit. I feel like that's happening with the Colts. I do think it will be a contested game, but historically speaking, it's not on their side. And I like the home underdog in division. We always like that matchup every single time. Home underdogs in division. These teams know each other very well. So give me the Jags in this one, baby. I would even sprinkle the money line here. I'm not afraid of it at all. Andrew, you're a brave man because your first bet has to do with the Jets, Jets. Let's talk about it.
Worked last week. Jets on the money line against Kirk Cousins outdoors. Trust the process, except this time, it's not Kirk Cousins that we're going to bet against outdoors in December. It's Tua and this Miami Dolphins team that traditionally does not play well on the road in December. They beat up on bad teams, and the Jets are a bad team, but it's when they're playing at home in Miami or in a dome somewhere. So looking at this matchup, Joe, you want to bet on the Dolphins this week? No, I do not. So that means I have to bet on the other team, and it just so happens to be the Jets. But look, the Jets have played inspired football over the last couple of weeks. Tyrod Taylor has played really well. He's 3-0 against the spread in his 3 starts this season. The Jets have covered the spread in 4 of their last 5 games. Not really sure how they're doing it exactly because they don't really have a ton of talent, but Aaron Glenn maybe has these guys bought in. And you know what it reminds me a lot of is Dan Campbell, his rookie year as the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Terrible to start the year. I don't think they had a single win. But in that second half, they just started to cover game after game after game. And now you look up, the Lions, since Dan Campbell took over after that second half, have the best record against the spread in all of NFL, all of football. So I think we're starting to see that a little bit here from Aaron Glenn. And any opportunity I get to bet against Miami playing on the road in December, I want to do that. They've lost 5 of the last 6 road games. The last time we saw them play outdoors in the weather, it was my best bet of the week. The Cleveland Browns. They lost 31-6. They got absolutely smoked. And eventually, Joe, the Jets are going to get an interception. Like, it's going to happen. You would think eventually it would happen at some point. But I think it's happening this week. I think Tua is going to get picked off this week. He's played in New York 2 times in his career, totaled 3 interceptions, and both those games were played in late November. So I like that matchup here. And when you look at what Tua has done splits in terms of zone coverage versus man coverage, he's faced the most zone coverage of any quarterback this season, and he's been really bad against it. He's thrown all 14 of his interceptions against zone coverage. Now, when you look at the Jets, they've played mostly man coverage. That's what Aaron Glenn does. That's what he did in Detroit. It's what he's done with the Jets for the most part. But since they traded Sauce Gardner, they've at least shown the idea of, in a couple of their matchups recently, weeks 11 and weeks 12, 19% man coverage, 24% man coverage. So they have been open to the idea of, hey, let's play a little bit more zone without Sauce Gardner. if they can make those adjustments, I think they can take advantage, pick off Tua here. So Aaron Glenn, if you're watching this, just drop back in zone and let Tua make the mistakes because he's going to do it. So therefore, I'm on the Jets here. Jets +3, Jets +2.5, Jets money line. Give me gangrene.
All right, give me for my next pick here the Washington Commanders +2.5 over the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings have just flat out quit. The Brosman situation last week was untenable, and now you're back with J.J. McCarthy, and McCarthy's turned over the football a lot too. Justin Jefferson seems miserable. I think everybody in Minnesota is miserable. They're such nice people out there. It's so cold, and now the Vikings are not giving them anything to keep them warm here. It's just cold as ice in Minnesota. It's cold as ice in that locker room. And it feels like everything is just done for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, let me be clear. I don't love the Washington Commanders. This is not a ringing endorsement of the Commanders by any stretch of means, but they did compete quite a bit Sunday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. They pushed them all the way to overtime. So you got to give them some credit there. They haven't folded up the tents. So there's bad teams that fold up the tents and disappear, like the Vikings. And then there's ones that play it out and give you effort. And Dan Quinn, I think, is still going to get effort out of the Washington Commanders. I think they're trying to save a little face here at the end of the season for a disappointing year that had more expectations. So I'll take the Washington Commanders on the road with the points here in this contest. Next up, last week we were both on Cleveland. It looked good for about 3 quarters, and then it all fell apart in the fourth. So Andrew Erickson, you're a brave man. You're going back to it again this week.
Because 3.5 points is not enough points when you're facing the Tennessee Titans for the first time on the road. They haven't played a road game since week 8. And so though they've had some moments here where it looks like, hey, they're taking a step forward, I think it's going to all come crashing down when Myles Garrett looks at that offensive line, looks at a rookie quarterback who's going to hold onto the football and says, hey, I can break the sack record today here in week 14. So I love the Browns defense in the spot back at home. Traditionally, this is where they have one of the best home field advantages. I get that last week didn't work out, but that wasn't really the defense's fault. It wasn't even really the offense's fault. You look at what happened. It was all those special teams miscues by the Cleveland Browns. 49ers, 3 touchdown drives. They started at the Browns 16-yard line, 32-yard line, and 18-yard line. Like, that's the reason why the Browns fell apart in that game against the 49ers. Again, didn't know if they were going to necessarily win, but they had a chance to cover. It was the special teams that really kind of threw things out of whack for them. So I like buying the dip here back on Cleveland. I don't think that 3.5 points is enough. The Titans have covered +3.5 twice this season. Basically, unless you're getting a touchdown with the Tennessee Titans, I want no part of betting them in any capacity against any team in the NFL. So give me the Cleveland Browns, give me Myles Garrett, give me the Browns at home, and give me a little Shedeur Sanders swagger. Again, everyone said that Cam Ward was the better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders was, despite the fact that they were both kind of viewed as those top quarterbacks. Obviously, it did not work out that way in terms of how they drafted. I think that Shedeur has something to stay here. I think that he wants to show out, and I think that he knows he has the better team. It's reasons why they're favorites. So give me the Browns, laying 3.5.
Not a lot of games where the Browns are favorites this year. It's also, don't look now, Shedeur, but the practice window is getting open for Deshaun Watson.
Oh my
so, yikes. All right, let's talk about this next one here. And it is one that I think any of us are hard pressed to not think it's going to be an over. The consensus line's moved a little bit. It was 51 on Monday. We love the over then. It's moved to 52, 53 in some other spots and a half. I don't care. Still going over. So let's call it 52.5. Let's cut it in the middle for the over Cincinnati and Buffalo. Neither of these defenses excite me at all. I don't care what Buffalo did against the Steelers last week. The Steelers are predictable and boring, and the quarterback play is subpar. Period. End of story. And Joe Burrow's back. And Joe Burrow is playing fast and loose because he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. And it doesn't matter. And there is something very freeing about Joe Burrow in that kind of situation. No, the Cincinnati Bengals are not making the playoffs this year, folks. I don't care what anybody tells me. The path ahead of them is so ridiculous. I'm not even going to entertain it. But as Joe Burrow said, if there's football to be played, I'm playing football. And he can go out there and stick it to the Buffalo Bills on the way out, stick it to the Baltimore Ravens on the way out. That sounds like a very Joe Burrow kind of thing to do. And hopefully next year with better help, maybe the Cincinnati Bengals will rebound. But I like the over in this game. I think you could set this at 60, and I probably still like the over. I think both teams are going well into the 30s. The Bengals defense is atrocious. The Bills defense is not much better. And you have two quarterbacks, Joe Burrow playing fast and loose, as I mentioned, but Josh Allen playing with a lot to play for. The season's on the line, and the division too, because if you lose, Patriots aren't a bye. That's it, folks. That's it. That's the division. AFC East is over. Andrew, you're in on this one too, so you give me your thoughts on the over in Buffalo, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo has to find a way to win this game because it's going to make winning the division for the AFC East for the Patriots way less sweet if they just get it by default next week. Like, I want them to have to beat Buffalo, lock it in. And in the press conference, they're all wearing the what is it, the shirt and jersey game, the shirt and t-shirt game where they get
No,
the
yeah.
hat, the AFC East championships where it should be in New England. But that's for week 15 betting. Back to this matchup here. It's so interesting because when you look at when the Bengals and Bills have played last 5 games, 5 straight unders. Now, that's not a case for me where, oh, here's a trend. It's, oh no, we are due. Like, we are due for this trend to break, regression to hit, to come to a mean. And I think that happens in this particular matchup. So I'm right there with you with the over. Bills games at home have traditionally gone towards the over. 15 of the last 19 home games have gone over the total. And then the Bengals, we know that their defense is absolutely terrible, even though they have improved over the last couple weeks against guys like Lamar Jackson and Drake May. I don't think that really matters. Josh Allen at home with Buffalo. Dalton Kincaid has a chance to come back. It looks like Buffalo could get a couple key pieces back on their offensive line. Kincaid has a chance to play. He was practicing in limited capacity earlier in the week. We know that the Bengals are one of the worst defense at guarding tight ends. So I think that's a
Yeah.
big boost for offensive scoring from the Buffalo Bills side. And again, the Bills defense, more injuries. Joey Bosa, what do you know? He's injured again. Terrell Bernard, another guy who's dealing with an injury. So just too many explosive weapons on both sides, especially if we do get T. Higgins to clear the concussion protocol. Again, I think that we're going to see 60 points in this game. So just going to keep moving up.
Look, I like the hats and the t-shirts and all that. As a Patriots fan, I don't care. I want them to lose. I want to win the division. Everyone can just get them mailed to their front door on Monday morning. That's fine by me. All right, before we get to our next picks, and of course, don't forget, we got our picks of the week as well as the parlay of our picks of the week coming up for you. We've also got our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. It's NBA. It's NFL. Major League Baseball probably around the corner, too, the next couple months. If you're a big baseball bettor, you're going to want to be in our Discord. Some great MLB people in there. NHL is happening right now. College football is happening right now. If it's props, if it's live betting, we can help you with our incredible community over at Betting Pros on the Discord. Again, you can join for free at bettingpros.com/chat. Next up for me, my pick number 4. Look, I took the Bears last week, very much on them. Not only did they cover the 7 against the Eagles, they won outright because that's what the Bears do. They play close games. And you know what? They're going to play another close game, I think, against the Green Bay Packers. I know Green Bay went into Detroit on Thanksgiving and came out with a big fat W, but I think that the Chicago Bears, like they do every single game, will find a way to keep it close. I just think 6.5 is just too many points. So give me the Chicago Bears. Do I love them to win this game? No, but then again, you can say that every week about the Bears, and every week they keep winning because they're the number 1 seed. So what the hell do we know? Look, it's just there is a core problem at the base of the Bears, and it's still Caleb Williams isn't doing everything as well as he could. And you can tell from the coach's comments sometimes, he's still not thrilled with some of the things that Caleb Williams isn't doing as well as he should. And I think that is where that disconnect or that confidence level comes from me. But I still think they can hang with the Green Bay Packers. And, you know, they're still the underdogs despite the fact that they're at the top of that division. Yes, it's on the road. Yes, it's in Green Bay. I don't care as long as Kyle Monangai is healthy too. I feel good about the Chicago Bears covering that 6.5. Andrew Erickson, you're in on this game too, but what's your approach?
I agree that the Bears is the side I like as well. And what we find is when we're on the side of the underdog, it's usually results in games that are lower scoring,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I see this total at 45.5 points. And I look at how good the Packers defense has played at home this season. There's been no games that have gone over the total in Lambeau Field this year. 0-5-1 towards the total this season, 34.2 points per game in total played in Green Bay. And this is dating back from last year, too, including 2024, 4-10-1 over under. So I think 45.5 points is way too much. Again, you just outlined all the issues with Caleb Williams. Okay. The Packers don't give up explosive plays. Like that's like the number one thing that they do defensively. He's like, no, we're not going to give up big plays. So what do the Bears want to do? Hey, we want to keep things tight, give us a chance to win in the fourth quarter, generate one big run, one big play. Again, Caleb Williams, I get that it's been frustrating, but you see when he makes some of these off-script plays that you see the talent and the upside. He just has to hit on one or two of those big plays, make one or more plays than Jordan Love does, and that's how the Bears can kind of come away either with the upside here or obviously covering the plus 6.5. But regardless, I think that if the Bears enter this game with a run-heavy mindset, which is how they've had so much success in beating of these beating teams as an underdog, keeping things tight, that's just not going to result in a ton of scoring. So I like the under here in this game that I think is going to be much closer. kind of like what you said. So the best bet for me is under 45.5 total points.
All right, let's get to our last of our 5 favorite bets for the week. And I'm going to Kansas City on this one. And you know what? I think it's going to surprise some people. I'll give me the Houston Texans plus 3.5. They Chiefs can't run the football. They have all kinds of issues there. And historically speaking, the Texans aren't afraid of the Chiefs. I know you can look at the scores from last year, right? That December game they played, 27-19, Chiefs win. But Texans fought real hard in that game. That was also a game that had some major injuries in it as well. Then you have that January game that they played in the playoffs in 2025, where the Chiefs won 23-14. And again, close, right? We're talking about, teams that, are not intimidated. They have nothing to lose. Texans very much fighting for their life in the playoffs, just like the Chiefs. All the narrative is about the Chiefs fighting for the playoffs and Chiefs fighting for their berth. The Texans are in a better pole position to make the playoffs than the Chiefs are, okay? And nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about their motivation. DeMeco Ryans is a really good head coach. That defense is ferocious. They're for real. I think the window for the Chiefs, again, we always talk about it every single year, Andrew. The team that loses the Super Bowl, especially when you lose it in epic fashion, the next year does not go well. It's not going well for the Chiefs. Last year, all the close games broke their way. This year, all the close games are not breaking their way. And I know it's in Kansas City, and that's why you're seeing the 3.5, which makes me wonder if this game was in Houston, what this line might be. And that, to me, tells me a lot. Because theoretically, this should be more like 5.5, right? If this is the Kansas City Chiefs that are so good that we still believe in that could be a playoff team. But it ain't. It's 3.5. And to me, that tells you everything you need to know. I want to be on the Texans side of this football game. You've got some feelings about this one too. Let's share them with the people.
Kind of doing the same thing I talked about with the Packers and the Bears. I do like the underdog in this spot, but it's Kansas City, it's Patrick Mahomes at home, and it's the Chiefs with extra time to rest because they played on Thanksgiving, and that does scare me, especially because the Texans also have been really bad at covering games when they're playing with the rest disadvantage. So avoiding the sides here, at least at the plus 3.5 line, and instead just taking the under. Again, going back to what does Kansas City do at home? Play games towards the under, 1-5 towards the over this season at Arrowhead. The last 4 home games have all gone under the projected total. 6 of the 7 last games for the Chiefs have gone under the total. The only over was against the Dallas Cowboys, who we know are one of the teams that just invites and creates chaos and offensive environments for scoring. I think an interesting trend that I looked at this year, it reminds me a lot of the thing that we talked about a couple of years ago with the Honolulu flu, where it was like, oh, teams face the Lions, they don't cover the spread the next week. Well, we look at Dallas, teams the week after they play the Dallas Cowboys, which is always a game where there's a ton of points, 2-1-8 towards the over the following week. So I think that you're going to see this Chiefs offense come back to earth a little bit. You're not going to see Mahomes throw for 4 passing touchdowns, especially when he's not missing 1, not missing 2, 3 offensive linemen against this fierce Texans defensive line. So I love the under in this game at 42 points at Arrowhead.
What else did the Chiefs do, by the way, on Thanksgiving, Andrew? Could you remind me? They lost. That's right. That's the other thing the Chiefs did on Thanksgiving. Just putting that out there. All right, everybody, it's time for our favorite segment. It's the Hard Rock Best Bets Bet of the Week. And of course, Hard Rock Bet is a sponsor of our show. So we want to thank them as always for being part of every single show here at BettingPros all season long. Right now, you can go to Hard Rock Bet, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets when you do on top of all your winnings. And if you're into casino games, that's cool because new customers can get up to $1,000 back in casino bonus. If you're not up money after your first 24 hours playing slots, you can win money or get casino bonus back. Plus, you also get 200 bonus spins, winning and paid in cash, by the way. So download the sportsbook right now for Hard Rock Bet. And Andrew Erickson, I will kick things off here with my favorite bet of the week, and it is the over on the Cincinnati Bengals. That's where I'm going with this one. Again, it's moved from 51.5 to 53.5 in some spots. Let's call 52.5 because I see that in a couple locations still on BettingPros. So give me the 52.5 over Cincinnati and Buffalo because not a lot of defense, 2 quarterbacks who play fast and loose, and I think we're going to have some fun. This is going to be a very entertaining game. It will not disappoint. Andrew Erickson, what is your favorite bet for Week 14?
Going right back to my most bet team in November per my BettingPros recap. All the Spotify wraps coming out here in December. Right. Well, go check out your BettingPros wrap. Figure out what happened in November. I had a down month. It was not profitable for me. Sad face. But my most bet team was the Cleveland Browns. So I'm staying true to what I think works, betting on the Browns at home against a rookie quarterback, making his first road start since week 8. You look at the Browns over their last 22 home games, 14-8 against the spread, 64%. That is the best record against the spread at home. Nobody knows home field advantage more than the dog pound. Give me the Browns laying 3.5 against Cam Ward.
And remember, when you download the Hard Rock Bet, new offers and promos every single day. The legendary reward drops every Thursday. And whenever you're listening, just open up the app and check out what's going on at Hard Rock Bet. But you can only do that if you download it today. And remember, bet $5 and you win. Get 150 in bonus bets only at Hard Rock Bet. By the way, what was your Spotify age? Mine was pretty close to mine. It was 2 years older than me. It was like 49 or whatever it was. I was like, okay, that's about my age. What was yours? Some people I see are getting like they're 85 years old. I imagine you're close to that.
It's because those people are listening to audiobooks, probably.
Stupid book learning. I don't read.
I was 40, I was 44.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Because I listen to a lot of like early 90s, 80s rock stuff, especially like when I exercise and work out. So that's influencing the 44. So not up like 65, 70, which I'm kind of happy I wasn't put into that group. So I was fine with 44.
Yeah, a lot of 90s for me still. It's a little bit of 80s sprinkled in there, but a lot of 90s, a lot of old school hip hop in there, a lot of still, the old school grunge stuff, still my Soundgarden and my Alice in Chains. Like I'm never getting rid of that. But I also have, 2 teenage daughters in the house, and sometimes they use my Spotify in the car, which I think collectively brought my age down, with the Taylor Swift and the Conan Grays and the Chapel Roans and all that stuff.
I'm curious what I have to imagine D-Bros was like 16-year-old because it's all the grunge, all the screamo, all that type of music that he listens to. It's like you're into this stuff. Like you're 16, 17. That's your Spotify age. You need to know D-Bros. Someone get him on this.
Yeah, I'll ask him today on the live stream on Fantasy Pro, see what it is. All right, so let's go to the upset special of the week. I'm 5-8. Boy, we were rough there for a while, but I've been on a roll with the upset special. That's 2 weeks in a row with the upset special. I want to keep this ball rolling here. And we're going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars on the money line against Indianapolis plus 115. How you doing? Let's go. I was tempted with Washington, but again, there's always it's Washington at the end of the day. And I think Jacksonville's in the pole position, new coach. Sometimes you just got to shake things up. Pittsburgh. Sometimes you just got to shake things up, fresh voice, new things. It's good for everybody. But Jacksonville Jaguars, I think on the money line is the way I want to go. Hopefully, look, if I can get to 500 this year with upset specials, that's pretty good. Upset specials not easy, and every single week I got to pick one of them. And if you put our best bets of the week together, everybody, the 52.5 from the Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills game, and Andrew Erickson's minus 3.5 for the Browns against Tennessee at home this week against the Titans, you get plus 250. So that's the parlay of the week. We're up to 4 of those so far. So maybe we'll get to 5. And if you want more parlays, make sure you stay tuned here on the channel. Subscribe, ring that bell till it goes ding, because the parlay show is right around the corner. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.